Welcome into the Michigan State Hockey Hub as we have a special guest joining us this week, the newest member of the Michigan State hockey team, Zach Dubinsky. Zach, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So, Zach, anyone that's been following the team has seen Coach Cole make comments about how the roster would look a little bit different. They brought in a couple transfers. A couple players have decided to pursue different routes, and Zach's the most recent commit coming over from RPI through the transfer portal. It's funny, Zach. Like, how many people from RPI have entered the portal? Do you know?
We've had a bunch that have graduated.
Yeah.
Me and then one other kid have just entered that haven't graduated yet. So
It's so strange because I feel like we really see this in football. It's, Coach Tucker at Michigan State added 20 some odd transfers, and it's becoming the wild, wild west and just free agency. And Michigan State's dipped their toes into that as well with Charlie Combs 2 years ago. They got a few last year, including Jeremy Davidson, or he may have gone back to juniors and came. Either way, you know what I'm saying. It's crazy how college hockey's changing since the transfer portal, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, having that rule of being able to not sit out a year, I think gives guys kind of an opportunity to choose their own path. And if they want to change or something, it gives them that outlet to kind of look somewhere else and kind of change the path of their career that they weren't able to do in the past.
Yeah, and I explain this to people often on this podcast. It's different with hockey recruiting. You commit much earlier, right?
Yeah.
So how old were you when you committed originally?
I was 17. It was my first year playing USHL.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different, and I think it's awesome. I assume all the players love the change in the rule too, because sometimes it's just not the best fit, or sometimes you can see, maybe an opportunity elsewhere will be beneficial for you and the team. So yeah, I'm sure players love it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was able to take advantage of it and kind of use it in my favor. And I think that, it's something that can be really useful for players in a similar situation than I was. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to dive in and kind of get to know you tonight, kind of talk about your game and see what you bring to the Michigan State Spartans. First, we're going to just kind of talk about your path to college. Where are you from and where did you play your junior hockey?
I grew up my whole life playing in the Chicagoland area for Chicago Mission. I think I played there for probably 7 or 8 years growing up. And then my first year of juniors, I played in Lincoln. And my second year, that was a little short due to injury. And then I went into college the following year at RPI, played the full year there. And then the next year, our season got canceled due to COVID here at RPI. So went back to juniors and played in Omaha. Was able to actually play with my brother. That was a
Oh,
pretty
cool.
cool experience for me.
Yeah.
And then came back here at RPI. And then after the season, went to the transfer portal and ended up Michigan State.
Have you played with any big names that we might know through juniors?
Growing up for Chicago Mission, I played with Cal Dybus for a while. And then I played with Jeremy Davidson quite a bit actually in like summer and spring tournaments growing up. So
Okay, yeah, and we're going to touch on that in a little bit. So you went college, junior, back to college because of the canceled season, and at RPI. So before we dive into RPI, there's one thing that we've talked about a bunch on the show, and I love having a player on to explain this. How big is that transition from juniors to that freshman year? Because it seems like it takes some players, you know, freshman year they may not click, and the game maybe looks a little fast or big. In college, sometimes these players are several years older than the freshmen that are coming in. How big of a transition is it to try to get used to the speed and size of the college game?
I really think the speed isn't really that much different from juniors, but I definitely say that the strength and the skill level I think definitely rises. I think it took me a few games to get into it when I was made the transition, but it didn't. I wouldn't say it took too long. Playing with the right players too in different situations really help kind of make that adjustment easier for players, and I think that it could take some guys longer than others. But it's just kind of the path for everybody.
Yeah. So at RPI, 12 goals and 20 assists. your freshman year, you had 2 goals, 10 assists. This previous year, you upped that to 10 goals. That's a pretty big jump. What do you think was the difference that allowed you? Was it opportunity? I know there was, more games as well, but, what changed that allowed you to put the puck in the back of the net a little bit more?
Yeah, I think a little bit of opportunity mixed with getting some confidence, I think, in myself after, my last year junior. I had a good year in Omaha. Just, sticking to my game. And, as you get older, it makes the game a little bit easier in college. So, it's just kind of the progression that I've gone through.
Awesome. So you hit the transfer portal, and we are all very excited that you chose Michigan State. What was it about Michigan State that just made you say that's where I want to play?
I think there's a lot of reasons. First, Coach Cole, I think giving me a great opportunity, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing for him. And he seems like he knows a lot and is someone that's respected in the room. So I'm looking forward to playing for Coach Cole, and also the opportunity to play at a Big Ten school and play in a league that's probably the top two leagues in the country. And also being able to play at Michigan State. Obviously, they are upgrading all their facilities, and it's going to look awesome. I'm really excited to see that stuff, and also being closer to home. It's only about a 3.5 hour drive compared to it's a 12-hour drive from here, but having the opportunity for my parents to come out definitely more, and being able to see family and going home, before the season or whatever it may be. I think that played a huge role in me coming to Michigan State.
Yeah, and we talk about facilities a lot, and the new facilities at Michigan State look to be really nice.
Yeah.
Um, and we talk about that in recruiting, but we need to ask a player, how much of a role does that play? I mean, I know it's a factor, but some schools don't have much going on at all in terms of facilities. How much of a role does that play in that the average college kids decision on where to play?
I mean, I think it's more so for some than others, but like it's obviously something that people are looking for in an opportunity. And I think that having great facilities definitely opens up doors to higher end players and being able to get higher end recruits. And I think that's huge in today's day and age. And putting it on social media or whatever it may be is really promotes the program and gets guys to kind of understand what's going on there, and all the great things that they can have once they're playing there.
Yeah. Mun's a great place. So I've been there. So I actually live in Kentucky. But I come up for games every year, and I just think it's such a great place to watch a game. It's smaller, more intimate, and I'm sure it's going to be a great place for you to play as well. Now, when you look at this Michigan State roster, there's been several players that have either graduated or transferred that factored into top 9 roles, top 6 roles, even, on the, a player like Lewandowski, who um, was here for, I believe, 5 or 6 years, it seems like, with that extra year, and he's since graduated. There's a lot of ice time available, and it's going to play itself out, I'm sure. But was that something that you saw and said, not only is this a great school and a great opportunity to play in the Big Ten, but I'm going to have a chance to really earn a role that maybe I would not have elsewhere?
Yeah, I think that was a huge part of it for me. I think Coach Cole kind of laid that out to me and my family, and kind of let us know, like, I still have to earn the opportunity, obviously, but I think that I can come in and definitely play a big role and kind of fill the shoes of guys that have left and make an impact offensively, and be a player that can play in all positions.
Yeah. So with that being said, tell us a little bit about your game. Do you play any on power play, penalty kill? Are you defense? Are you more offensive driven? What's your greatest strength as well?
Yeah, I think I this past year I played in all situations. 5-on-5, PP, PK. You know, I I I think that I'm a responsible two-way center that can be relied on in all times of the game. At the end of the game is something that's important to me. Taking that important face off at the end, and also I think offensively I can kind of drive the play and make my line mates better and create opportunities throughout the game. So I think I just uh, my offensive game, I think, is definitely coming along. It's something that has grown the past couple of years, and I think that I can bring that definitely coming into Michigan State.
I know face-off percentage is not everything, but do you happen to know what yours was off the top of your head?
This past year,
Yeah.
I think it was around 54 or 55,
Whew.
something around that. I
That
think it
that's
was
good. And
definitely better toward the end of the year than the beginning of the year, but
yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome. Christoph Papp was a player who took a lot of big face-offs for Michigan State, and he was above or around that 55 mark as well.
yeah,
He has since departed. So, again, and I know, like you said, these are all roles you'll have to earn, but it's making sense why this was a good match for you. There's going to be such good opportunity for you to make a positive impact on this team.
yeah. I think it's going to be good for me to be able to step into a role and fill spots that have since departed. And I think that I can bring my own kind of aspect to the game that I think can definitely improve the team.
Oh yeah, of course. So, when I was thinking of questions, I always thought, it's always interesting to hear which current players you may know, which ones you may have played with. So, are there any current Spartans that you've played with or know from way back in the day or anything like that?
Yeah, I played with Cal Dybus for a while growing up at
Okay.
Chicago Mission, and then, like I said earlier, Jeremy Davidson in the summers and spring, and also grew up around John Moore. He played for Chicago Young Americans, so we played him quite a bit and have skated with him in the summer a bit too. So those three guys are guys that are all my age and some of the people that I've grown up with pretty much. So
Yeah, and John Moore's a pretty good goalie
yeah,
for the role that he's played since he has been here up to this date has been that kind of third goalie. In terms of goalies, he's a pretty good one compared to most teams' third
yep,
goalies. Davidson, you've played with now. When he came to Michigan State last year, he really, really quickly transitioned in and was scoring goals, and just you could see he's a really talented player. Have you played on the same line as him before?
I don't necessarily remember. It was definitely when we were younger, but
Yeah.
yeah, he's a good player. Playing against him my entire life, basically. Last year he had a really good year in Fargo too. So I've always respected his game, and he's a great player.
He seems like he's kind of a tough player to play against.
Yep.
Like he's strong on the puck and has a great shot. A pretty creative player. So yeah, I can imagine playing against him is pretty tough.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so before we get you out of here, we're going to do just a couple of rapid fire questions. Um, these are just helping us get to know you a little bit better. Nothing too important in these questions, but favorite type of music or artist?
I'd say country music and Parker McCollum's favorite artist.
Who's that? I've never heard of him. Is that a newer one or
Yeah, he's a little bit younger, but he's got some good songs. Yeah.
awesome? Hey, favorite food?
Sushi.
Sushi. Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite hobby outside of hockey?
Definitely golf.
Golf. Okay. Are you a good golfer?
I used to be better than I am now. I used to have a little bit more time, but
Yeah.
I'm probably around like 10, 12 handicap.
Okay. I
Decent.
don't golf, but I know a
Yeah.
lot of the players do, and they all do a golf outing. So who knows? You might you might win that tournament. So
Maybe.
okay, favorite TV show.
Yeah, I'll have to say Breaking Bad. In the
Oh
middle of
man, I'm
watching
so
it for the
glad that
second
you
time
said
now.
that.
So
I'm so glad that you said that. It's such
yeah.
a good show.
Oh yeah.
Um, I'm forced my fiance to watch it, and at first she was like, "I don't like the drugs and killing," and I was like, "Well, there's a lot of that, but just hang in there." And she ended up loving it.
Yeah.
The best thing about that show is just every single episode's entertaining.
Oh yeah. It's a lot of up and down, and it keeps you wanting to watch like the entire day.
Yeah.
So
There's I will always say there's no character in TV that just has more stress put on them than Jesse. Like
oh yeah.
that guy lives the worst life ever.
Yeah.
He goes through a lot. He goes
Yeah.
through a lot. So, all right, this isn't a Breaking Bad podcast, although I wish it was. Favorite professional teams in whatever sports you watch?
I pretty much watch all sports, so it's usually the Chicago teams, Blackhawks, Bulls, uh, Bears, and Cubs. Cubs fan.
Okay,
I
so
watch
you're
that
a
stuff.
baseball fan.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, starting up. I think Cubs
Is it next
start
week?
tomorrow
Oh, tomorrow.
against.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, so I actually write for a baseball website as well, so I'm a big baseball fan. Cubs Cardinals tomorrow.
Nice.
I believe Kyle Hendricks, or no, it's not Cardinals. It's Pirates, I think. Whoever it is.
Yeah.
No, you know what? It's Brewers Cubs tomorrow. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Corbin Burns, Kyle Hendricks. Sorry about that. Yeah. I'm also a Blackhawks fan, so been watching this year. A lot of
Yeah.
struggles, but
Yeah.
a lot of fun times in recent memory as well. Do you have a favorite movie
Favorite movie?
or a
Probably The
movie
Other Guys. The Other
maybe you've
Guys.
seen recently? Or
The Other Guys is my favorite movie for
yeah,
sure.
I like that movie.
Yeah.
That's a great movie. Okay. And lastly, before we get you out of here, we're just going to kind of talk about the outlook of Michigan State. It's sad. I don't like bringing it up, but the team has struggled. I mean, it is what it is. They've struggled the past few years. Um, Coach Cole's been in. This will be his 6th year. He's got all of his guys in now. He's done really well in the transfer portal, and I'm sure that you're going to continue that success. What do you think Michigan State needs to do to really improve this season?
I think we have a good group. Looking at the fours and the D, I think that we have a group that has a lot of experience, and I think it's a group that can kind of surprise people. I think we just have to kind of play to probably our identity and know, like, when going against Michigan with five first rounders, like, you just got
Yeah.
to stick to your own style of play. And I think that I think definitely this year we'll have a for sure a better finish than last year, and just really looking forward to getting started.
Yeah, and I do think this season, this past season had a lot more talent than the record showed. As you know, what can happen, an injury to Lewandowski, a couple other injuries, and next thing you know, the season just kind of slips away. The Big Ten's really tough.
Yeah.
A great first half to the year. I mean, a really good first half. I did a stat comparison at the first half, and they had just in the first half of hockey, they had surpassed almost all the offensive stats of the season before. So we did see improvement. The second half just needs to get stronger. But the way the roster is shaping out, I like what I see. We are really excited to have you at Michigan State, and I just want to say thank you for taking the time today to join us. Tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
I just got a Twitter. It's the one that you put there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for having me on, and looking forward to following you throughout the year, and looking forward to a great season.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Zach, and go green.
Thank you.